In this video, I'm going to show you a new release of something that's still in beta, but it's going to be the next update that we're going to be releasing just in the next couple of weeks, most likely. So I am on a demo version of Salesforce because I want to show you this how some really cool features we're about to be rolling out. So I'm going to enter in and I'm going to pretend I'm at one of my resorts. In this case, I'm going to pretend I'm at Styx River Resort, which is in Lower Alabama. What we've done is we've created a way, since this is a website, we've created a way for this website to recognize what computer this thing is running on. Because we can now recognize what computer you're on, we can now give you limitations or give you abilities that we didn't have before. For example, we can now tell at Styx River, we can set up two different cash registers going on at the exact same time. Okay. And we could tell you who's been on which cash register and how much cash they've taken in each cash register, or how much payments they've been taking off of each individual computer. The interesting thing is even if the agents themselves share the computer, we can tell you, we could still differentiate between the two. So ideally, you'd want one agent running one computer and another agent to run another computer, and keep them two completely separated. But even if you have to mix and mingle, maybe a resort manager comes up to work on a computer and help out, it doesn't matter. Any cash transaction that happens on that computer will be registered in with that computer. So we're able to, even within a website, to distinguish what's happening on each individual computer. So at one of our resorts, we have 5 different computers that are up and running, taking payments, checking people in. And so we needed a way to differentiate what's happening on each individual computer to have a little bit more cash management. And that's actually what this whole update's about. It's about cash management. So I'm going to sign in here as an agent under Styx River. I'm going to go ahead and hit login. Okay, and all right. And the first thing it's going to ask is which cash drawer am I working on? So I get to pick which cash register or cash drawer that I'll be working on, and I'll hit continue. It's going to ask me. It's going to first print a receipt. That receipt's what's going to kick open the cash register. Okay, so I'll have to print that. It's going to ask me how much money do I have to start off with. So I got to count my till, and just luckily for us, it's ones for everything. Okay, I can leave a note if I need to, but it's just great for us. We have one of everything. So I'm going to click on Start Shift. This total is going to be recorded inside our system. So I now have started my shift. I'm going to go to our resort, and I can take payments as normal as I've already shown you. A couple of different options now that we have is I have the ability to move money cash from the safe. And if I were to do that, again, another receipt's going to print open. That way I can at least get that little pop the cash register open. Okay, and I can tell you how much money I had moved from the safe to my cash register. In this case, I had 3 $100 bills. Again, I can move notes needed for refund. Cash from safe, hit go, and that money has now been registered. So now the computer shows that I have 4 $100 bills inside my cash register. So it's keeping a tally of how much cash I actually have within my register. I can also reverse that. I can say cash to safe. It's not an exact reversal, and that'll show up when we do our end shift. But I can also do a cash to safe. Okay, receipt prints, that kicks open our cash register, and so now I'm going to tell it how much money we moved back to the cash register. Okay. Okay, so now I can move that money back to the cash register, back to the safe. Okay, so we can move money from the safe to the safe, and all this is being recorded on this particular computer. Now, it's being recorded in Salesforce, but it can differentiate between what this computer is doing and what the one right next to it is doing. So it knows that this computer did this. All right. So even if I were to log out as my user and log in as somebody totally else, when they come back to this grid, it knows that it's running off of this computer. So even if we had 2 computers opened by the same exact person, it knows what's happening on this computer versus what's happening with the other computer It's not even based off of off of a person. It knows which computer you're on. Okay. All right. So I also have the ability to take a lunch break. I can suspend the shift. Okay. It's going to suspend the shift that I'm on. I can pull out my cash register, go put that in the safe, go to lunch. Somebody else can work on this computer as well, whatever they want to do. But when it's time for me to log back in, maybe all right. If I can log back in, I can reassume the shift. Yes. It has my cash drawer back in there. And now I'm back on the shift that I was at. One thing that you can do with this is that if you're at a very busy resort, a person can come in like at 2 o'clock. Maybe they're starting their shift at 2. They're going to work from 2 to 7. They can come in. They can go to a computer in the back, right, in the office somewhere, and they can count their till in the back. And then they can suspend their shift, and then they can move to a computer in the front and start their shift. So that way they're not having to count their money in front of the customers to start their shift. Same thing can happen when they want to end their shift too. They can suspend their shift, move their till to the back office, and then they can start their shift in the back office computer. They can count their till down, have that all recorded. That way they're not having to do that in front of the customers either. Okay, so that's something that we had thought about. Let's go back to our resort, and now what I want to do is end shift. All right. We'll go ahead and end that shift. Again, receipt, so it pops out our cash register. All right, so we need to do our cash count. So I had ones for everything, and I brought in 300, and I moved 300 back. So that means I should have ones for everything again to tie out. Okay. If you notice over here, the overshort calculates how much money we say that you should have inside your cash register. And then your cash count here says how much money you really do have. And then it subtracts the difference, and you can see that we're even. Let's do 2 pennies. Okay. And now it says that we're overshort by 1 penny. Okay. That's because we have one too many pennies. We also have checks. So if we've taken checks throughout the day, that'll be calculated there. And then we also have the closing keep. The closing keep is how much money you're planning on leaving in the till when your shift is done. In this case, for our luck, it's always ones. And so you can see exactly, here's how much money we counted in for the day. Here's how much money we're saying that we're leaving in the till at the end of the day. And then we can end the shift. Okay. If this is overshort, we have to leave notes on why we're overshort. Otherwise, we can just end the shift. And again, it calculates everything. Here's how much money you have moved in from the safe. Here's how much money you said you cashed to the safe. Here's how much cash deposits that you've taken. Okay, and that's the cash coming in from the safe. And then we also have the cash deposit is how much money we're telling you that you should be depositing into the bank at the end of the day. This is not cash that you've taken for deposits for reservations. This is money. This is saying you should be depositing this in your bank tonight. We expect to find a receipt for this inside your bank tonight. And here's also your checks. We didn't take any checks in our demo, but you'll calculate those two together, and that's telling us we're expecting you to put this inside your bank by the end of the night. And the reason why we do see 300, even though I moved money from the safe to the safe, is because in our business case, when you take money from the safe, that money is intended to be used if you need to move money back to the, when you move money to the safe, you're still going to be depositing that money. That's not going into like the bank, the safe itself. It's just holding it there for safety. You don't want to have $500 in your till. You only want to have a maximum of $100 or $200 in your till at all times. So we can move money to the safe just to keep it safe, but that money is going to be deposited. If you need money back to the safe, then we have to call our accounting team. So if we needed to move like $100 from the safe to the till, then our accounting team is aware of how much money we've moved from the safe to the till. If you need to replenish the money in the safe, we have to call the accounting team to handle that. But that's according to our business model. So I hope that makes sense. Now, one thing that we've worked hard on is that the corporate office does not have to do this start shift. So we don't take the money here. We do take some credit cards, but we're not taking cash. So we don't need to have any cash management. Also, notice here, like on the end of shift, a lot of countdown procedures. They'll want you to calculate how many visas, how many Mastercards, how many Discovers you're taking. We don't have any of that because all that stuff is being recorded in Salesforce anyway. We can pull a report that tells us exactly how much we have. We can even reprint receipts, not ones that are signed, but we can reprint the receipts that they gave us. So, or actually the receipt that we gave them. So the only thing that we're doing here on the end of shift is just calculating the cash and also calculating the checks and then calculating the close and keep there. The corporate computers don't have to do that. In fact, manager computers, if you have like a manager computer, they don't have to do the cash management part at all. The only restrictions that you have is that you can't take cash on any computer that doesn't have cash management on it. Okay, so everything else has to be either by checks or by credit cards. This allows managers to be able to log into the computers without having to do all this shift stuff, because all this shift stuff affects the reconciliation report in the sense that all the shifts have to be closed before you can actually run a reconciliation report on the resort. So that a lot of checks and balances go into this. So also, money can be taken from two different resorts as well. So somebody at Styx River can make a deposit payment for a reservation at Mountain Lakes, and there's nothing stopping them from doing that. And it does not. It does affect your cash count, so it does recognize that this computer at this resort took the money. But it will not mess up anybody's reconciliation reports. So we were aware of. We actually have two resorts that are right next to each other, and so they do interactions with each other all day long. We also have a corporate office that does payments for all the resorts, and so we were quite aware of this situation when we developed this. That means a person at one resort can take money for a person for another resort, and all the money is there. It's counted for. It doesn't mess up any of the reporting. You don't have to do any special works to make that happen. So anyway, that's something we were aware of. If you have any questions, let me know.